welcome back everyone. This is blah, blah, because that's the sound Ruby makes when getting hit, and she's a real loudmouth overall. Today I want to continue on the topic of fighting games in the eyes of new players. Woo. Before we begin though, and because this is the internet, I want to first say that everything I discuss is based on my own experience with fighting games and my own thoughts and opinions on whatever the subject I may be talking about. You as a human, you have the freedom to disagree and move on with your life and do things however the hell you want in case you don't quite agree with something that I say. Anyway, typically, new players, they tend to focus on the competitive side of fighters, usually only pretending that, the only professional game scene exists, like only the pro scene is the one thing that they need to focus on, pro scene and tournaments, that's it. And that's not the case at all. Think about it. Every pro player at some point started out as a casual player just trying to play and learn the game little by little, just like all of us. So there are exceptionally talented players out there that can pick up a fighting game and master it quickly. But those people are still usually long-time fighting game players that know what to look for in a game and how to do it. And they typically know how to do it and they know how to look for it to begin with. New players usually get stuck in one of two places. So the salty frustration in which they complain endlessly about things they refuse to try and understand. Be it characters, specific attacks that keep hitting them. And when I said characters, I mean they have problems with specific matchups. And specific attacks that keep hitting them, they don't quite understand why. Or any other specific mechanic in the game that they don't really know how to apply to their own gameplay. The other side is the side of wild assumptions and guesses. Sort of going back to what I said in my previous video, we live in a time where people can just pretend to know what they're talking about because they see a bunch of streams or YouTube videos. New players will never understand hitboxes, spacing, zoning, counterpicks, execution, cross-ups, guards, push blocks. List goes on. Videos and streams help. Yes, I'm not taking that away or implying that they don't help new players. By all means, in fact, please look up videos about a game you're trying to learn. I encourage it even. What I mean is that you can't be a theory player. You have to put what you learn into practice and not just talk like you've already mastered stuff you have no idea about. You can't fight the battles in the game outside of the game by just discussing mechanics you don't use, but you've just read about or saw a video about. I was completely new to fighting games once, and I went through several phases of this very thing that I'm talking about, so no, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I was always above it. I'm not gonna be high and mighty and pretend that, I never went through these phases. I have always been a very smart fighting game player. That's not the case at all. I went through some really bad phases, but, I decided that it was better to just learn, stop complaining, and actually learn the game. It helps if you play it too. All right. So there is a difference in knowing what each individual thing that I mention is, because you saw it or read it somewhere, but it's another thing to truly understand how all of these things work together in a real match, and why micromanaging decisions, they matter so much at a fundamental level in all fighting games. To be completely fair, doing what I just said isn't exactly complex at all. It may sound like I'm hyping up fighting games, so this is the greatest shit ever in video games, but I'm not. I'm really not. Understanding the stuff in the game, honestly, it's pretty easy if you play consistently and constantly, and you catch glimpses of what everything is and how it works together. But going back to the pros do it in such a way that they set themselves apart from the rest. That's why they're pros. They get paid for it, and they get the I don't know how many dollar sponsorship contracts and whatever. And no, pro players don't always use the fucking top tier characters just because they carry them. Using top tier characters does not mean you will automatically win, but that entire topic could be covered in a separate video. So let's just move on from that generic subject, because I feel like it's been talked about so much that you could probably look for a YouTube video about it. Yay! See, there you go. That's a good way to fucking use YouTube to learn more about other fighting game subjects. So as a new player, alright, these are my suggestions to any of you that may want to try out a fighting game for the first time, or maybe try out a fighting game semi-seriously for the first time. Maybe you've played something casually a little bit, and maybe this time you want to say, well, I think I'm gonna try a little more. I'm gonna try hard a little more. I got all this information at my hands. I'm gonna organize it. It's really not that complicated, all right? Like, again, I'm making it sound like it's more complex than it really is, but it really isn't. So as a new player, what you want to do first of all is, and get ready for this one, all right? I know it's going to come out of nowhere, but please, are you sitting down? Okay, sit down, all right? I don't want you to get hurt. Okay, so here it goes. The first thing you want to do, first of all, have fun with the game. Yeah, I said the F word. I said fun. Yep, I did. In 2018, year of our Lord, I said the F word, fun. Because if you truly like it, if you truly like whatever game that you want to play, whatever fighting game you want to play, if you truly like it, you'll find the time to get good at it. And you may be wondering, why get good at it? I'm not going to be a fucking pro player. I'm not going to quit my job and change my entire life and dedicate all my time to learning this one fighting game that I kind of have fun with. Why would I do that? Well, you don't have to go that far. So why do it then? Well, to beat everyone that you find online, of course. And also to represent your favorite characters. This is why characters are so important. This is a slight fusion of a casual and competitive mindset, which can help you develop your skills while also allowing you to not take it so seriously, to the point where it just isn't fun. You don't need to win EVO tournaments to get the most out of fighting games, okay? You really don't. You can just be a decent player that curb stomps tryhards online and feel good about it afterwards. It's enough. Trust me, okay? Other things to practice and learn about, okay? Take notes, please, my fellow students, please. Attack motions. Learn them. Very important. Actually, you need to learn it if you play a fighting game. You need to know what motions and what combination of buttons you have to press to make your attacks come out. I don't know if someone out there would want to argue, well, you can just be good with normal attacks and you're not going to need special attacks. I mean, I guess maybe in like Street Fighter? Maybe? I don't know, man. That's like a weird kind of argument to have. Someone out there must be saying that. I mean, maybe not at this video, maybe not at me, but someone out there must have been like, you can just use normal attacks. It's fine. Don't worry about motions. I don't know. It's Learn your attack motions, okay? The fighting style of your characters or your one character, whichever that may be, all right? You got the guy that you want to use or the gal, and this character is so fucking cool that you just can't even contain your fucking giddiness, and you're just, every time you look at the character, you're like, yes, I'm glad this character exists. Yes. So you're all giddy, but you're wondering, how do I play this character though? How does this character work? So is your character a mid-range fighter? Is it a long-range fighter? Is your character purely a zoning character? Maybe it's a hybrid. Maybe you can fight mid-range and then long-range, but not necessarily be that good close range. Learn your character. Again, in BB Tag specifically, you do get character tutorials, and they sort of give you the very basic of the basics of the character that you're trying to learn. So you're gonna get a pretty good feel about your character in a tutorial. And again, once again, I do encourage you to maybe look up some YouTube videos on the subject. There's people that make very specific character guides, and there's a big chance that whatever character you like has a guide. So go and check it out. The combo system of that particular game. So when I say combo system, like for example, the hit stun. So in BB Tag, you can't loop your opponent over and over. So you can't put them airborne and then throw them down to the ground and then launch them into the air and then throw them to the ground and then just keep doing that until they die. At some point, the hit stun is going to reset. So they're going to pop out of your combo. So you're going to hit them, and instead of continuing the normal combo string, they're going to just magically bloop, they're going to pop out, and you're not going to be able to hit them anymore, and you're going to be forced into a neutral situation once again, or a 50-50, depending on where you are in the stage. Which follows with my next thing that you should learn. Oh, and by the way, also the combo system. You also want to know if the game that you're playing, if you're comboing someone and it pushes them away from you, like in Street Fighter V. So, the more you hit your opponent, the more they're going to get pushed away from you. You want to know if that happens in that particular game that you're playing. The other thing is meter management. So meter management, you got your meter, and you know that you can use your powered up special moves with meter or your special attacks, the big flashy attacks. But you gotta learn how to manage it and when to use it and when not to use it. When to be stingy with it and when to just blow it and just use all of it. You gotta learn that, very important. Space or stage control, again, you wanna know how to handle a match depending on what part of the screen you're on. All right. Attack properties. So all of your and this is primarily in anime fighters, not so much in other traditional fighters, but there are attacks that have special properties. For example, in BB Tag, you get your ground attacks that behave like anti-airs, and some of them are very specific, some of them are not. So you gotta basically experiment. Again, BB Tag has a great tutorial system that they straight up tell you, hey, this is your anti-air moves. You get upper body invincibility, meaning that it's a great move for anti-air. So you pretty much need to learn those moves if you want to know which move to throw out in any specific situation. And the other thing is basic defense options. A lot of players get overwhelmed when another player just starts wailing on them, and they can do nothing but guard the entire match, and then they get stunned, they get crossed up over and over until they die, and then they quit, and then, I don't know, they go back to playing fucking Dark Souls 3 with a longsword. So, I'm kidding. I have to throw one in there. Come on. You know at this point that I'm just the most passive-aggressive motherfucker. Alright, so anyway. The list can go on, but those are some basic essentials. But, again, don't forget that the most important part is to get good because you want to have more fun having good matches. That's where the competitive side of it comes in. And when I say competitive, I don't mean the Capcom Pro Tours or the esports televised tournaments for whatever fighting game. And I don't mean that. I mean the competitive side of, hey, this is a good player and I've been getting good too. I want to know if I can beat this good player. And then you do beat that good player, but then he beats you. And then you're 1-1 and you want to break the tie, right? And then you get that urge, you get that feeling that you want to learn more, you want to get better, you want to keep improving. You want to experiment with other characters, maybe you want to just become so good with the characters that you like that just no one else knows more about that character than you, right? So there's there's a big amount of reasons as to why someone would want to get really good at a fighting game. And when I say really good, I don't mean like, again, I have to keep repeating myself and I'm sorry, but I really want to make it clear. When I say getting good, I don't mean like getting really good to the point where you're just a fucking professional player or whatever. Just forget all of that, all right? Forget all of that. Forget that the pro scene even exists. You are just an online player and you want to get better because you want to beat scrubs. That's what you want to do, all right? That's a great motivation right there. But seriously though, pick the characters that you find fun. Don't go and do this bullshit where you go and look for a tier list and you're like, I'm not going to use this character because it's low on the tier list. And if the character feels good to play, if it feels good for you, go ahead, try it out. And you may just find yourself wanting to learn more about the game and maybe even wanting to learn more about all fighting games in general. I like to do that. I like to study games because that's what I like. I don't know. Again, I'm not a professional, but I have fun with it. And I hope that you had fun watching this video and listening to all of my bullshit. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.